And for all of you that saw the I'm recording thing, it's so that when we're done, I can post it on the website, and that way anybody who wasn't here can watch it if they want to,
Cool.
if they're interested. We did that during COVID a few times when this was all we were doing, and that seemed to go over pretty well. And with that, I'm going to start with, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to share?
Just a reminder, the Old Dominion Open in Richmond is February 25th. So we're down to 23 days. And if you're building a not a zero subject, get them done, fellas.
Yeah, there's a few out there. Hopefully that's some of the progress stuff we'll be talking about tonight. Any other announcements? All right. Well, with that, I'm going to put Chris on the spot.
Okay.
And let him and Chris basically tell us what kind of how did you find out about the club, and what particular modeling interests you have.
Okay. No problem. So I found out about the club from a couple different avenues. I listened to a bunch of different podcasts, primarily the Triple P and Sprue Cutters Union at the moment. And my barber actually cuts Darren Cook's hair, and she sent me a picture of his shoes, and I randomly saw those shoes in Hobby Lobby and struck up a conversation, and he really kind of turned me on to the whole Southern Maryland scale modeling thing. And that's why I'm here now. It's like he pretty much drove that for me. I'm primarily an aircraft modeler. I've built a couple tanks just kind of as a palette cleanser. I started off with 1/72nd scale and recently finished my first 1/48 scale aircraft. And I just have, I don't know, a passion for aviation, and I kind of just grew up modeling because of my dad, and here I am,
Cool. So what project do you have currently on your bench?
I have probably about 13 or 14, but the one I brought for tonight after reading the theme is a Edward F6 Hellcat night fighter. Kind of means a lot to me. My grandfather was a naval aviator in the Korean time frame, and I have his logbooks in my closet, and he actually had time in a Hellcat. So I immediately bought a Hellcat after learning that, and here it is. It's in the primer stages, so it's still got some seam lines and stuff like that, but I'm working through it.
Very cool. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Chris.
Welcome.
Welcome, bud.
Welcome.
All right. First on my list is Justin. You're up. Tell us about that not a zero you're working on.
Well, I just found my not a zero. I just got done moving. So my hobby room looks like a tornado went off in it. But last night I found it. I'd already started it. Met at this stage right here. It's going together beautifully because it's to me a kit. Pretty much just shake it in a box and it goes together. I'm going to be doing the camo scheme that's got all the little squiggly lines on it.
Mhm.
So instead of trying the last of my patience with my airbrush, I just bought the decals.
Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it, kind of not looking forward to it. Decals are not exactly my strong suit. That should be good. That's about all I have. I've spent the last 2 months just organizing one place to move all the shit to another place, and finally getting to sit down at my hobby desk.
Good to be back, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Justin, a friend of mine built that kit with and used those decals. And his feedback was make sure you start with the fuselage center line for alignment. And they actually went on and fit really, really well. So good luck to you on those. His looked fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing yours done.
Did he mention what kind of setting solution he used?
Just the standard Microsol microset. He didn't go with anything real harsh.
Yeah, because I have all kinds of different ones. I've got the I don't know where they are right now, but I've got the Mark Fit.
Who makes those decals?
Tamiya.
Okay. Their stuff is supposed to work really well with their decals. So if it was me, I would probably start with just solve a set. Sorry, no, microset. Sorry, I said that all wrong. Microset. Good God. Let's go to the other end of the heat spectrum. So that's the blue bottle, right? Yep. And if the blue bottle doesn't get, if microset doesn't get it, then maybe try those.
And I heard on the Kentucky Boys podcast about using this stuff.
Mr. Setter, yeah.
Yeah. Start with this.
Heard that's pretty good with Tamiya decals as well.
Yeah, Justin, start with
The
the
setter.
setter and then use the softer and don't let it pool on your decals.
Okay.
You know, apply it to get it wet and then kind of brush it off just a little bit so that there's none pooled there. Wick away
Yep.
the excess.
The guy who built it and used basically the same stuff as the Mr. Mark you've got there. The setter goes under the decal and the softener goes over the decal. So you put that setter on the plastic and it'll allow you to move that decal around till it's in the right place. And then put the softener over the top of that, and that decal will shrink right down into all the surface detail.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it, Justin. It's good to see you back at your bench, buddy.
It's good to be back at my bench. Yeah, when I moved, I went from like a 8 foot by 9 foot room to a 10 by 13 room. To got me a nice new hobby desk with multiple stations on it. I got a table over here for Dave if he ever comes over to build. Got plenty of room in here now. Of course, plenty of room once I get it cleaned up.
Yeah, very cool.
That's awesome. All right. You got anything else?
Nope.
Joe, you're up.
I'm trying to keep from colonizing a Skyraider engine. Trumpeter 32th scale 84, gonna be painted blue with the markings painted. That's fortunately it's a trumpeter kit, so 90% of what's on this thing will never be seen. So I really don't feel too bad about having to rip all the intake manifold pipes off of it to get the back plate on.
Oh, man.
We'll see how it goes. But that's what I'm playing with. Sorry, I wasn't able to make the last meeting. I was in Pennsylvania for my uncle's funeral. So
Sad to hear.
And I probably won't be able to make too many of the Thursday nights after tonight because that's first and fourth Thursdays are band practice nights for me. So I'm going to be doing that, but I'll be here when I can.
All right. Well, third Thursday is when the club meets.
Yes, and I will not be there this month because that's a performance night for Newtown players, Sound of Music.
Oh, okay.
But that's just this month.
All right. Sounds good, Joe.
Yep, that's what's going on, Tim.
All right. Thanks.
Happy to be here.
Benny, you're up. You're muted, Benny. I tell you what, Benny, I'll switch to Vince while you figure out your sound.
Well, if you're coming to me, I'm gonna take this out of my rack because I got a bunch of stuff to show. And instead of holding it up to the camera, I'll just flip the camera around. I have talked with some of you guys about, I always have all these someday projects. Someday I'm going to do this, and I've got an idea for that. I'll do someday. Well, this year, my theme for myself in my modeling is someday is now. And so I've had a stockpile of B24 models, and I have the Cobra Company B24D nose conversion, and I have the Cobra Company PB4Y1 conversion, and I was able to obtain the Cobra Company PB4Y2, and then I also have just a standard HJ kit. And the other day in the mail, I got my 5th one in the mail, and a friend of mine who does 144 scale like I do, he also 3D prints, and so he printed me 2 sets of engine cowlings and engines and the turbo superchargers. And in the mail, I've been receiving, this HJ kit. Another guy 3D printed a full-on cockpit interior for it, so it looks good. And now I'm getting ready to, I want to build a collection of B24s, and so I'm going to do the D in the North Africa desert markings, and I've got some of the Kits World decals for the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves series of models. And I think I'm going to do the second Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that has Snow White on the left side of the nose and the pink elephant on the right. Was just kind of a cool looking bomber. This one, the H, is going to be one of the Zodiac bombers. And I was going to do Sagittarius because I thought that nose art looked good. The 2 sets of decals I had, neither of them contained mine or my wife's Zodiac. And the other day I found the 3rd of 3 sets of decals for the Zodiac B24s, and it has both. So I'm going to do my wife's Zodiac sign on that one. I think she's Virgo. And then this guy is going to be PB4Y1, and it comes with the Elco nose turret conversion, which is kind of cool. And it's actually a lot of the interior pieces and stuff were painted over here. So it has, yeah, the Elco turret is the second sprue in where it's by itself. That one will go in the nose of that one. And then, of course, the privateer everybody's familiar with. So I am working on these 4. I'm going to add that 5th one this weekend. Oh, and that 5th one's going to be a Canadian Liberator. I think it's called a GR8. That's actually from 1968. These 3 are my not a zero subjects. And the center one here looks a little sloppy right now because it was, these 2 were 2 of the mules I used for the weathering demonstration at Nova last night. And I actually put the stuff on exaggeratedly so people could see it around the room. So I've got to work some of this back off, but they're all built, painted, clear coated, a little bit of weathering. I'm not too unhappy with that one, but I've got to scale down this one and then start a little weathering on this one. And so I will have these 3 ready by Richmond. And as soon as those 3 are done, I'm moving on to Judy and a KI-43, I think it is, sitting back there. And then I've got 3 more sitting right there on my roll top desk that are waiting to add to our not a zero subjects. So those are the things I've been tinkering with here lately and what I've been going on. Let me turn my camera back around and put this back in my mount. So this weekend is going to be B24s and B24s and B24s and weathering on not a zero to finish those up. That's, you'll see all those at the next in-person meeting. And then of course, down in Richmond, looking forward to that show. And I'll give you guys a little insider baseball. Bert Kinsey, Detail and Scale, he sent me a PDF copy of the draft for the F-105 in Detail and Scale. And all I have to say is, oh my goodness. Probably the best Detail and Scale book that's ever been produced. And Bert and I did some roundtable editing through Zoom-like calls, and we ordered the second proof. And if that one comes back good, we actually think we'll have the F-105 Detail and Scale in hard copy form at the tables at Richmond, available for sale. That book is going to be out imminently. So good news on that front.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Vince, back on those B-24s.
Yes.
So your friend who does 3D printing,
Yes.
how difficult would it be for him to 3D print the privateer bits in a bigger scale?
I don't know. I will, matter of fact, when you move on to the next person, I'm going to disappear while I go get a pen and jot down that note to make sure I remember to write him and ask.
Okay, thank you. I personally would be interested in 172nd, and Whitey might be interested in 148th.
But he might not be the only one.
I figured that, but
But you're,
I'd be
there's a
interested.
there's a couple of kits of the PB4Y2, like Matchbox, and someone else did one in 72nd, but you don't want those.
no, the other one that you're thinking about is Revell, and it's just a reboxing of the Matchbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Matchbox is the only one, and it is a general shape is okay, but the details are awful.
Yeah, it's a very rough kit.
Yeah, so the objective would be to take one of the in 72nd scale, one of the Minicraft Academy, whoever you want to refer to them as, B-24 variants, and modify it into the correct one, preferably the PB4Y1 kit, which has the Elco turret in it already for the nose.
Yeah, so one of the things
Isn't the
that I learned.
privateer nose longer?
Yeah, so if
It
you look
is.
at this is the B-24 HJ fuselage with the PB4Y1 nose drafted on, and this is the PB4Y2, and the wing pass through from the wing to the tail is the dimensions are all basically the same, but the nose they grafted in, I think it was 4.5 extra feet where they
Yep.
put in equipment and operators, and
They also, they put a plug in both in front of the wing and after the wing.
So the difference from the windscreen to the turret's the same on both, right?
if I move it back from the windscreen to the turret is about the same because the plug comes between the leading edge of the wing and the cockpit. This is where the main plug was installed. But if I line up, if you look at the two wing holes, the tails are basically at the same length. There was the plug back here was to have the remotely controlled waist guns.
Right. So you could work from a PB4Y1 kit and just move the cockpit forward.
Yeah, you have to add in about 4.5 scale feet between the leading edge of the wing and the back of the cockpit.
Right.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to mess with the nose.
That would be one benefit.
Yeah.
And then you have that
Yes,
gigantic
having
vertical stab.
the turret and stuff already there and injected plastic would definitely be a benefit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now from the plastic, would you get another kit and cut a similar section out of the front of it and graft it in?
Yes, you'd start with the Academy, and this is in 72nd scale. You'd start with the Academy PB4Y1 kit, which has the Elco turret on the nose.
Oh, okay.
And what you would do is you would take that and you'd cut it off, and then and what you would do is then take, in theory, you would then take whatever the 3D printed resin plug and insert that in, so that it just shifts the forward piece forward. That you do the same for the side turrets. after the wing. And then there's at least one boxing of the PB4Y1, and I want to say it's an Academy boxing, that actually had 2 Elco turrets. So you could then do the tail turret as well. Otherwise, you got to source another Elco turret either by robbing a second Academy kit, or it's included in the conversion. Preferably, I mean, I'm the kind of guy I would use another kit because it would be injected and not, and I would, the clear parts would be injected as opposed to trying to use vac form. Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave that to you, but I thought I would throw that idea out there because I think that would be awesome.
I will ask. And just if anybody care, I know I'm really about the only one who builds regularly in 144th, but if anybody is interested in that Cobra Company PB4Y2 kit, there's a guy in England who bought all the materials in the masters, and I helped him run down the guy who did the artwork for the etched metal sheet, and he's got that. And in at this month, February, he's planning on putting the PB4Y2 back out as a regular kit. So they're rare as hen's teeth right now, but they're coming back to market from a cat in the UK.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be available again soon.
All right. Thanks, Vince.
Good.
And
Thank you, guys.
I think Benny is, since I heard him talk earlier, he now has sound.
I do. Okay, so I only have one, not a Japanese Zero project underway right now, unlike Vince. But as I said last time, I'm using this as a really kind of as a paint mule for some experimenting with the Tamiya lacquer paints and also with some weathering techniques. So you can see on the bottom here, I've got some different panel shading going on. So the ailerons and the elevators are painted with the fabric taupe. So that's not metallic, but all the rest of this is. And so the base coat is the Tamiya gloss aluminum lacquer paint. The stuff right here in the center section of the wing is titanium silver. You can see it's got kind of a yellow cast to it, which I'm not sure I like for this application, but I've got a plan for some other things that I think it'll work pretty well on. And then the darker panels up here on the wings and the butterfly flaps, what I ended up doing for that, and one of the things I kind of don't like about the lacquer paints is there's not really much of a palette for the metallics. They're either really bright and shiny or they're really dark. So what I did for those panels was I shot those with light gunmetal, which was, other than the titanium silver, the lightest thing I could find that wasn't silver or gloss aluminum, which, by the way, are identical in tone, just a little bit different in grain. So I shot that with light gunmetal, and that was way too dark. And I ended up basically putting a filter of the aluminum back on top of that to tone those panels down. You can see the wing panels up here on the outboard section are a slightly different tone than the butterfly flaps, because I did them at different times and I didn't get the filter exactly the same on both areas. So something to watch out for there. If you're doing symmetrical panels, you basically have to do them right together, or you'll have a hard time making them match from side to side. The good thing I like about this stuff is, just like the Tamiya spray can lacquers, these things are pretty much bulletproof. So I taped all over these to do the all the bare metal panels up on the top, and had no issues there. And also on the side of the fuselage, you can see I did some sea salt and basically slapped a little water on the panels there where I wanted to show wear. Let me see if I can get that to get a little closer so you can see it. And that actually worked out pretty well. Shot Tamiya acrylics over that, and then let it set up for a couple of days actually, and it just basically went back and picked all the rock salt off with a toothbrush, and got that effect there. The all the white areas for the unit markings on the tail and the bands and everything are just painted on. I had I had some decals with this arrowhead on it in 48 scale. So I just shrunk them down, made paper masks, and then cut those out of tape, and then just use striping tape to do the rest. So I'm probably about 80% right now. I'm going to do some different weathering techniques on here, probably up on the cowling on the cowl flaps. I'll probably just go at it with the tip of a knife blade and chip that back to the bare metal. And then obviously I'll use some silver pencils and stuff to do some different weathering on it. And then I think the only decals that are going to go on this thing are the national insignia, the Hindenburg. So having a good time figuring out how to work with this. But I'm not 100% sold on the lacquer paints as the ultimate bare metal solution. I may be looking at some different stuff later on too, but this is definitely good enough for this model, and it's good to practice on. So been working on that, and I'm also seems like a lot of people are building P-47s, so I've got one that's also coming along pretty well. And again, it's going to be the 5th Air Force, the South Pacific markings with the white ID bands on the wings and the tail. And they'll get some more stuff on it. And this one should be done, I think, by the time we meet in person, and hopefully the Oscar will as well. And I got one other project that's going on for the theme this month. So I'll, if all goes well, I'll actually have 3 build models in 2 weeks and be able to bring them down to the meeting and let folks take a look. So
That'll be awesome.
that's it for me.
Speaking of which, what is the theme for the February meeting?
Let's see, Paint It Black, Night Fighters.
Okay. Got it.
All right, and I think I figured out my switchology now too. So
Okay,
off.
good. All right. With that, I'm going to go next. Let's see where it is. All right, so that should be me, and then I'm going to switch my camera real quick. If I figure out how to do it. No.
What was that?
Wrong one. There we go. Well, I thought it was. There it is. There we go. All right. So this is the one, this is my not a zero. And what I've got is it's a G8N Rita. I think you've seen it in basically in another iteration. And this is an ancient Hasegawa kit that was festooned in rivets. You can see just a little bit some of the phantom rivet detail. This has all been sanded and polished, so it's dead smooth now. I did leave the fabric detail on, and those just went on today. And I'm at the point where I painted the black for the anti-glare, and I've painted some of the interior spaces so that I can start closing things up. I've got the AO Taki on the landing gear wells, and then the interior colors everywhere else. And I'm at the point where I'm ready to start closing things up and painting it with primer. And then start working on color as assuming that the primer covered everything well. But it all feels nice and smooth. So I'm pretty happy with how she looks. And then the painted black is my F3D, and I'm slowly making progress. As you can see, I'm filling in some seams. And the good news is in here in the engines, you can kind of sort of see them if the light hits it right. In this one, I haven't painted the intakes yet. I don't think the engines were really that long, but they might be. And I'm just building it straight out of the box otherwise. And we'll see how she comes out. This is also my MiG killer. It's a VMF 513 aircraft that in 1953 shot down one MiG-15. And it was a lieutenant colonel was the pilot, and a master sergeant was the radar operator. So I'm assuming that it was the skipper, although it doesn't what little I've read about it doesn't say he was the skipper. It may have been the XO. This is the sword kit. It's not a bad kit. I'm making some good progress with it.
You know,
Now,
that
I think
F3D is kind of a unique subject. That looks good.
which one? The F3D or the
Yeah, the F3D. You don't really see those a whole lot. That's a unique kit.
yeah, well, that's because the only other kit that's out there is the ancient Matchbox, which is an awful kit. And yeah, the F3D, the sword kit has recessed panel lines. They're very, very fine. And it's a beautiful little kit. I think, you know, once it the fun part's going to be once I get all the seams cleaned up is literally painting it black. The wheel wells, of course, will be blue, but painting it black, and then trying to see what I can do to break up all the, you know, single color black. There's a few photographs of the squadron's aircraft, and some of them look pretty natty, whereas others look like they just came off the assembly line. So it'll be one of those things where I can pretty much do anything I want, and it'll be okay. So you never know.
That's cool.
We'll,
Have some
we'll
fun
see.
with that.
Yeah, I'm going to. We'll see where how she looks once I get there. And with that, is Jake online?
Yeah, I'm back, Tim.
Okay, well, you're going to go next. Let me find you. Let's see. There's Jake.
Hey, Dan, I was just getting to your chat. What was the last thing you said after I said I bought 4 pieces of foam off Amazon? Do we have Dan? I can get back to you on that after this.
Looks like he's got no video or mic.
Okay.
So and I was reading what he posted. He said, how much for one sheet? I'm in a pinch, and the earliest from Amazon is 10th to 14th. Friend is retiring on 10th, but I need it for the 13th to give the display to him.
He can have a piece of 12 by 12. I probably need 3 of my 4 sheets. So I just got to get it to him. So Tim, maybe I'll get with you because I don't know where Dan is. I'll figure that out, or I can message him on Facebook.
All right. He's obviously online with us, but for whatever reason, he can't seem to get his video or mic to work.
I had to leave and come back in when mine dropped.
Right.
It tried to connect me, but it didn't do a good job.
All right. So Dan needs to text you directly, and
yeah, I'll figure that out.
Phone number's in the chat.
Phone number is in the chat.
And yeah, so it's my birthday yesterday, so every year I try to take off for my birthday and give myself the gift of time to do what the hell I want to do for a change. So I got a little modeling done yesterday on my Arma Hobby KI-84, and I think I'm probably the only human in the planet that's managed to fuck this thing up. I didn't glue my wings together good. And you can tell there's just not, I got parts of the 2 halves that aren't bonded together. And I don't honestly know what to do about that. Any suggestions? And of course it's in the midspan of the wings, so I don't know. Right.
Yeah,
There's
just run some Tamiya, just run some extra thin in there and put some clamps on it.
just work around the wing edge like that, Darren.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna do. I had a hard time cleaning up their sprue gates. Maybe I just need more time with it. I don't know.
They do have the sprue gates in some weird spots.
This
They're
this
not-
kit had 3 or 4 really bad sprue gates. Everything else about the kit's been spot on, but I didn't do a good job cleaning up the sprue gates on these wings. So I'm dealing with that now. The cockpit is freaking beautiful. Even with my limited painting skills, but the detail in it, I'm sure like it doesn't look like it's as detailed as the P51. Maybe it just wasn't in real life that detailed, but what detail, all the knobs and switches and little things they give you just fit in there perfect. I took my time with the cockpit just really because it was fun. So I'm not as far along, but I don't have many pieces left. So we'll see how I'll work on these wings tonight. In the meantime, I just set it aside and I'm working on a little 1/72 scale Bandai X-Wing, and their sprue gates are all in the right places. Their parts all line
They
up.
are.
Oh my God. It's the first Bandai kit I've ever put together. And it's like building a Lego. So if you really need a palette cleanser, go get you a Bandai kit. Cut the sprue gate, sand it a minute, and stick it together. It's unbelievable. So I'll give my time back to somebody else.
Happy birthday, Jake. Steve, you're up.
Thank you.
All right. Got a little bit going on. Yesterday, I before Vince came over and picked me up for Nova, I did put some paint inside the Mania Hasegawa Nate. Yeah, right now I just got fitted together. But so far I've decided to go in and engrave the panel lines on the cowling, which are hard to see here. And paint the inside of the cockpit. Also, another thing I've been messing around with is also a Hasegawa Oscar. I just got the wings, upper wings and the tail glued on. I just got taped together. And other than that determined if I start something else. And that's all I have.
All right, Steve. Thanks. Let's see. Paul, you're up.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Here we are, February. So let's talk about the group theme in November, which was I think it was the Edward Hellcat, right?
Yes.
I was planning to finish this in November, but here we are, February, and it's about 98% done. So let's show you what I got. All right. I have it on this stand just so it's going to be easier to kind of move around. All the markings are painted on with masks. Now, try to get in there as close as I can without destroying the thing. Stencils, I use the kit stencils, and I'm having a hell of a time with like silvering and decals just isn't my game. I've been practicing on mules with various solvents. So I want to try to figure that part out. You see the exhaust stain there, try to work on that the best I could. I think it had like more of a arc kind of shape than what I did with it. And I put a lot of layers of various paints and obviously finished it with light gray on the top. Reference pictures showed me that. One thing I don't like is I think I made these gun stains here much too bold. I wish I was a bit lighter, but lesson learned. Bless you.
Thank you.
So I wanted like kind of a worn, sun-faded look. And I was over at the hobby shop in Mechanicsville, and I saw a product over there that I thought would be perfect for this. And it's this stuff here. This neutral wash. So I coated the wings with that and then took it off with a paper towel. And I like it. I think it worked out pretty good. Let's try to get you a better view. And I think you can see.
Hold on a second. You said hobby shop in Mechanicsville.
Yeah, your house.
Oh,
Yeah, you had that stuff later. I was like looking
Yeah,
at it. I was like, you know what?
touche.
That would work.
That's right. How soon I forget? I'm getting old.
Yeah, yeah.
You, me, man. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Dude, he'll sell you kits that he doesn't want to build. It's just like a hobby shop. Darren's house is perfect for that.
Yeah, there's a number of hobby shops like that in St. Mary's County.
There is.
You really only just got to ask.
Called the black market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some are
yeah.
bigger-
Well, yeah,
some are
there's
bigger than
that
others.
too.
Right. So yeah, and also I fooled around with various tones of blues, trying to get different like patinas with that fading and so forth. Like you can see right here, it's a lot lighter, a little bit darker there. I still have to put on the antenna wire. It's gonna go here. But I'm gonna get some very small brass tubing and thread that through there to act as like, I think they're called insulators, those little things that are by the antenna mast. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah, they're
Some-
insulators.
yeah. I tried to do it without that and I hated the way it looked. It had a wire that's gonna go from this mast to this mast, and then one's gonna go down and hook up to the other side. And without the use of those brass tubing, I didn't like the way that worked. So I'm just gonna get that and do it right. So yeah, this is my first time doing a group theme, a group build, the Edward Hellcat for November. I wanted to finish it a lot earlier, but you know how it goes. So yeah, propeller, I did Salt Technique to kind of fade it and show some wear. And then I thought it was a little too stark, so I went back with black paint and kind of touched it up a little bit. But anyway, there it is. Far from perfect, but 12 models in, I'm learning and getting a little bit better, I hope. So yeah, I'll let the next guy go.
Oh, that looks awesome, especially when you consider that you're 12 models in.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I
Wish
fun
my
for me-
models looked that nice.
And I think you could, from talking to you guys and other modelers, there seems to be modelers that like the construction part and up to paint. And there's some modelers that like the paint, the weathering. I would say I definitely fall in the category of after it's built and the creative side of paint, weathering, and those kinds of things you can add to the model. So and you can probably see that in my work. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I like to do. And once again, the decal thing is just baffling to me. I don't like, sometimes they go on great, and then the same sheet using the same methods, the same materials, I get a completely different result. So I got to figure that part of it out, because I've been masking and painting everything that I can, and I rather like the way that looks, but I want to be able to obviously put decals on too, because there's gonna be some subjects where I just have to use decals. So we'll try to get better at that. But yeah, thanks for the compliment. I'm having a ball with it, and it's best thing I ever did was join this club. It's been great.
Well, good. All
Next.
right. So does Dan have connectivity? Can he show us anything or say anything?
He said he didn't have a camera, or his camera or mic, I think is what he said.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I wasn't sure if that was temporary or
Yeah,
not. So I'm going to
No
skip
video
Dan,
mic.
and I'm going to go to Vic as soon as I find him. There we go.
Yes, Dan,
Okay,
we know
Vic,
what you look
you're
like,
up.
a little scared.
I mean, excuse me. Well, let's start with a question. Since painted black is a theme, one thing I had been looking for, and maybe it's just is there a silver panel line wash out there? Because I can't find one. The best I could find was light gray-ish. I'm trying to figure out how to highlight rivets on a black airplane. And it would be easier if there was a wash. I don't know if anybody's found anything like that, or they had to make one.
Well, light gray, or I
Light
would.
gray.
yeah,
Silver would be better. Is what I'm
So-
really.
They
Have you
do.
tried-
They do
Have you
sell a
tried
metallic
graphite from
one.
an artist pencil?
No, I haven't. You just put it in and wipe it off.
Just
Let it.
take the pencil and just drag it over the rivets. real
you can-
gently.
Okay.
If you can see me, Vic, these Prismacolor pencils right over at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, this is the
Yeah.
silver one. These things are great.
Okay.
It all depends on the effect you're trying to get. Are you trying to highlight the rivet itself, or are you trying to put a wash around the rivet? It's
Occasionally when you you have a blue or black airplane and they pull the Zeus fittings off or the rivets or whatever, or not, they just knock off, not all of them because it'll look too even, but just to make it look like the paint came off the rivet.
yeah, then the Prismacolor is probably the way you're going to want to go.
Yeah. Just
Um,
remember to sharpen it make it a really sharp point to it.
And
Make
flat paint.
dead flat too that you're
Yeah.
drawing.
the Tiger will be ready by the next personal, I guess when we meet. It's about a year. I'm trying to tart it up a little bit. I've done detailed the wheel wells, put some ribbing in them. The problem with this with this plane is they were only in service for 2 years, and they were fairly clean, but I was having too much fun with the weathering, so it's probably a little bit over weathered for a Tiger. All doing now is touching up the black and then touching up the gray and then touching up the silver, and I should be done. I don't know how I feel about it. It was it wasn't fun, but I finally got a Tiger. There's a pretty good in all the research I did, there was a picture on Flickr of a Tiger of this squadron in 1958 out in Edwards. And I thought it was a shadow, but I looked at it repeatedly, and then I realized that the sidewinders were black in the back from that point on. So it wasn't a shadow. So putting little bits on, trying to get the sidewinders on, trying to get spruce up the landing gear a little bit to try to make the model pop a little bit more, because it was pretty basic. But I should have, I definitely will have it there on Thursday. That's it.
That it?
The never-ending Tiger story will finally come to an end. Huh?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to look for the next thing I'm going to do, but I came off of the Tamiya F4B into that. It was quite a shock.
That's a shock to the system. Huh?
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's time to build another Tamiya kit.
Yeah, no kidding. Or else plan your next year fixing another FM kit.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be that hard. It's just that I'm not a good enough modeler to try something that so I jumped into it too early. The research was fun. I got a lot of material, and I fell in love with the airplane, but not the kit.
All right. Well, if that's it, I'll move on to Frill.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been in work today on the Not Another Zero, and it's the Clear Prop KI-51 Sonya. Not a bad little kit. A lot of 246 pieces for a 72 scale.
That's
But,
lot of
not
parts
bad
for
little
a
kit.
72nd scale.
What's that?
That's a lot of parts for 72nd scale single engine.
And I was looking around a couple weeks ago, and I found the mask set for it, because the kit doesn't come with any masks. So I found a mask set online for this kit. And I found the best way when you deal with these kind of masks is to just peel off the surrounding paper around it. That way you're not having to go crazy trying to find the where your masks are. And I did finish my big P47. And never again will I build another kinetic 24 scale P47.
I'm
Even
with you
though
there.
it's a box of a vintage fighter series kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a rebox of that with different decals. So, but it's done. It kind of fought me and made my prop where it could spin. Just put some brass tube in there. The best part of this kit was the decals, because the decals went down perfect, except for the stars on the fuselage. Other than that, the decals went down fine. And I took a little bit of artistic license and I painted the wheel hubs, the French blue, to match the cowling. Because I was only able to find one picture of this airplane, and it was from like 20 feet away, and it was black and white, so you couldn't see the wheels. So I want someone to prove me wrong. So
It could have been blue.
yeah, a lot of them did that anyway. But nope, it's done. And go hang it from my ceiling.
Looks good.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
the blue hubs add to the character of that build. And you're right, that blue and black, the French blue and black trim on that natural metal really pops. It looks good.
Yeah, it sure does.
Well, thanks. It had to rescribe the entire rear fuselage, but this is a piece, an insert that you got to put in when the course doesn't fit very well. So I had to go and resand it, and so I had to go and rescribe and re-rivet this entire back area because I was sanding. I hate trying to do that when you're trying to get the panel lines to match what's molded in the kit. So, but no, it's done, and that's about it. Oh, I did use the probably can't see it, but I wanted to ask Tim, when you put did you put your bombs on?
Yes.
Did you have one of the feet for the rack not touch the bomb on the left rear? Like one of them on both bombs does not touch.
Oh, the sway braces?
Yeah, the sway brace.
I'll have to go back and check, but I thought
yeah.
I thought all 8 of mine, 4 on each side. I thought I got them
Nope.
all to touch.
Mine, I was looking at it, and the right inboard in the rear does not touch the bomb on both bombs. So
Right. Well, and remember, what I did, I think differently than you, was that I filled in the holes and then
Yeah.
re-drilled them, and in order to get it to fit a little snugger, and then I pressed them right up against the sway braces, and then just used a little bit of to me extra thin, and used capillary action to get it in there.
yeah, so I mean, so it is what it is. It's on there and it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did add the cast texture to the bombs with
Oh yeah.
I used some of this stuff here, this Vallejo plastic putty. It's pretty good. And just stippled it on with a brush
Mm-hmm.
and added that to it. And
You could
I
have just
noticed-
forced an orange peel airbrush effect on it.
yeah, you do that too. And there was no light, no cover for the landing light that came in the kit. So when I used the epoxy to put the wheels on, I just went ahead and put some epoxy in there for the
Yeah.
landing light.
I left mine out. I mean, I didn't do anything there because it was just, I was so frustrated at that point that I just said, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah. This thing will frustrate the shit out of you. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But nope, it's done, and it's gonna hang it from the
Oh.
ceiling.
Watch where you put your feet.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I've already boxed mine up for transit to Richmond. I'll bring it to the February meeting since mine's finished as well.
I've got to I got to have hip surgery on Thursday, so I don't know if I'll be making Richmond.
All right.
And that's it.
Get you a wheelchair, Phil. I'll push you around, buddy.
Yeah. Thing is, I can't sit for that long. I can't sit at 90 degrees.
We'll figure out something, man. Roll you around on a gurney.
And I'll be on crutches for like 6 or 8 weeks.
We're gonna have to go Cannonball Run style, steal an ambulance
Yeah.
and then a blonde.
There's
I just got
probably
my-
enough used ambulances rolling around in this county we could probably borrow.
Yeah.
Get you one of them scooters.
But no, but that's it.
All right. Thanks. Michael, you're up.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Been getting a little bit of stuff done. Nothing exciting, but I'm working on a Camellia 72nd scale P51D, and maybe we can see the part that's been completed. This is the cockpit.
Yep.
And kind of going from there. 8th Air Force aircraft, neutral metal bottom, camouflage top, and we'll see how it works out. And looking forward to seeing some of you guys up at Richmond here in a couple of weeks.
Well, good.
Be 3 of us coming up from the Raleigh area, and we'll get a chance to chat perhaps. And I'll pass my time on to somebody else that's really been getting some work done, and you guys have a good evening.
All right.
Hey, Michael, if you're coming up from the Raleigh area, do you happen to know Scott Van Watershoot?
Who?
Scott Van Watershoot. He belongs to a club. He lives right outside of Raleigh.
I don't recognize the name.
He's coming up to the ODO as well.
Water suit. I've got the club roster here.
Okay, we'll take it offline. I was just curious if you knew him because
Okay.
he's coming up from Raleigh as well.
Okay, maybe we'll meet a new guy, but I don't recognize the name.
Okay.
Thank you much.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you in Richmond.
Yeah, see that 105 book, how that looks. That sounds like something to bring home.
Yep.
If it gets them all available.
Yeah, I will tell you right now it is.
Excellent. I think
All right.
Bert's health is going well since his COVID event.
Yeah,
That's
is.
good. All righty, that's all for me.
All right. Brilliant. Turd, you're up.
Kurt Ferguson. Oh, unmute myself. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately,
Okay. It's the game on. So yeah, doing the same thing, working on the not a zero. Sorry, it's I know the camera's a little close, but you know, it is what it is. So y'all know I'm doing the captured. Where's it at? Stand by, stand by. This little jewel right here. The captured Japanese P51. Definitely not another zero. So anyhow, I got the wings all built in, all the panel lines done the way they're supposed to be there on the top and the bottom's done. Of course, the wheel wells, that was the wheel wells were a exercise in patience trying to get the silver and the was that zinc chromate done at the same time. Lord. So anyway, it's all ready for paint. Oh, another thing that had to be done. This one had a little antenna right here on the spine, and it had you cut that little circle out, and then you had to put the insert in and then feathered all in. It was another exercise in patience trying to get all that smoothed out, but finally got there. Of course, it's there until I shoot it with primer and I'll see it, right? But anyhow, yep, she's about ready for paint. Hopefully get that done this weekend. What else? Lady Jessie came off the shelf of doom. Again, the light sucks, sorry, but I've got some painting left to do. I started doing some a little bit of weathering. It's a little bit too much for me right now, but we'll see what happens. Well, I got to put a dull coat on it, and then I can get some oils and start doing some oil work on it, and hopefully that's it'll bust down that shine some and make it look a little bit better. We'll see. What else? There's always something going on. Well, I guess that's really about it. I've been so damn busy with work. I haven't been able to do much more.
Hey, Darren, is that not a
Yeah.
is that not a zero the same Arma hobby kit as the Musaru Cup?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so I'm building it for the Musaru Cup as well. Yep,
Oh.
absolutely.
I cracked it open. I didn't realize that scheme was in the box. I missed that somewhere along the way. I know you've talked about it. So cool.
Yeah, it's so they've got both of them, right? This is before it was captured right here. And then this was an extra deal that they threw in.
Yeah, it's not on the box on the back.
No, it's not. Nope.
And they advertise it as a bonus scheme.
Yeah. But I thought it was something different. It's unique, right? And it's certainly not a zero, so it fits the category. And it is obviously Japanese at this point. So why not? I am thinking about masking and painting these on instead of using the decals. We'll see. I think time's going to dictate too. But.
And how
the
interesting.
extras-
They leave the
I'm sorry.
bars on.
Do what?
Yeah, the extra set, are they Hinomarus with the American stars and bars, or do you have to put down the stars and bars and then put the Hinomaru over it?
No, it has it. It has it on it. Right here.
Oh, okay, single decals in. Yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of cool though.
Yeah. But they're so look, there's only a couple pictures of this airplane in Japanese custody and it's or possession, whatever you want to call it, and they're all black and white. I mean, it's very hard to tell colors. And this airplane's been portrayed in several different ways. Some have it like this with the tail being silver. Some portray it with that being white. Same with the spinner. So I don't know what I probably, this would really look good in white because it pops a little bit. But it's like Frill's thing with the wheels. You can't tell because it's all in black and white and it's very, very grainy.
Yeah, force somebody to prove you wrong.
Yeah. Now see here, what is that? That's B. Let me see what it says here. I didn't pay attention to it. So it says aluminum. Yeah. So I'm probably just going to do it all natural metal, do it aluminum. That was the plan to begin with, so I'll stick with it. Anyway, time will dictate on as far as painting the Japanese markings. I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. See how far I get this weekend. So, no, that's about it. Other than that's just been work. Always work.
Always work.
Yep.
It won't be always.
No, I know.
I'm here to tell you it
Looking
won't
forward
always
to it,
be
Tim.
like Yep. Yeah. The downside is you will be fucking older.
Well, look, it's only 5 years away, so I'm practically there already. I feel it. So.
Well, 5 years ago, I was in a whole lot better condition than I am now physically.
Yeah. I'll get there. I'm almost there myself, Tim.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. Any by the ways? If not,
No.
well, then I think we'll call it an end to the evening and be done with it. And
Hey,
hopefully,
Tim,
yes, sir.
don't dump us yet. The comment about going to the hobby shop. So I have something to offer for everybody, and the first one who comes up and wants it, it's yours. It's shrink wrapped, but I have a Hasegawa quarter scale A6 M5. It's a A0 Type 52 in the shrink wrap. If anybody wants this kit, speak now, forever hold your peace. I'll bring it to the next meeting. It's yours to walk away with.
How much?
You coming to the meeting, Chris?
I'm planning on it.
You want the kit?
I mean, yeah.
There you go.
There you go, buddy.
Well, welcome to the club,
Awesome.
Chris.
Wow, that's
Hey, it's glad to see you on tonight. Welcome.
yeah, Darren. Thank you so much for introducing me to this. I thought this realm was subjugated to just podcasts.
No. No. This is it's what we do. I mean, we try to get together as much as we can. So it's all good. It's a good time.
Chris,
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned when you spoke, you listened to the Triple P and what's the Sprue Cutters Union.
Yes.
You know, there's another one.
Yeah, Model Geeks.
Plastic
We-
Model Mojo.
We are geeks, so love it. We embrace the geekdom.
Yeah, it's all
Yes.
good.
Yeah, man, I found it ironic though. I was on the graveyard auctions last Friday, through their weekend auctions. And I've got a couple of the skeleton versions of the Japanese planes in quarter scale. And this dude threw a skeleton version of the A6M5 I didn't even know was out there. And I honestly, I don't need two. I'll build 1-0 and move on. But I got that skeleton version. I went, oh, that is so cool. So it's in the mail on the way to me now. And I went, I don't need this other A6M5. And I meant to bring this up when I was talking. And then I heard, Paul's over there going, yeah, I was at the hobby shop in Mechanicsville. So yeah, it's all yours, Chris. I'll bring it to the next meeting.
Oh,
Nice
Vince,
score,
I really
Chris.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome to the club.
Thanks. I'm feeling the love.